realized I didn't have an intro, so they're cutting some concrete outside. Welcome to my channel. I gotta double check to make sure. Channel is From the Trenches, and this video I got for you today, I realized it might not be the safest thing, but I did a reaction while I was driving, and I decided to do a reaction of Feli from Germany. So that I'll link it in the description to her channel. Check her out. But she did some stuff. She went on foot and talked to people about what's going on in the US with ICE, with Donald Trump, all that stuff. So check her out. But also I did the reaction, so enjoy. Like this, let me know, thumbs up, subscribe, please. So it's a lot of subtitles, and reading subtitles at night while driving in the fog probably wasn't the best idea. But From the Trenches, in the meaning of what the channel is, I'm coming at you from the trenches. Those are the trenches. I'm working. So I'm working, but I'm also doing videos, which is working. And then I come home and I edit, and that's working. So everything's working, but it's all from the trenches. Come on. Anyway, here you go. Enjoy the video.
Hello, servus, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Feli. I'm a German who spent the last 9 years in Cincinnati, Ohio, but I actually just moved back home to Munich, Germany a few months ago. And a lot of you have been asking me what the people here in Germany think about the US right now, especially in regards to what's going on domestically with ICE and the related protests, as well as internationally with the US getting involved in Venezuela and the discussions around Greenland and Iran. I actually made a similar video a few months ago where I showed you guys how the German media has been reporting about the US and asked my German viewers to share their thoughts. I'll link that video down below if you want to check it out. But some of you pointed out that the audience on my channel might not be super diverse when it comes to political views, so this time I took it to the streets of Munich and asked random people what they think. Was ist denn Ihre Meinung zu den USA aktuell?
Ich halte es für sehr schwierig, dass ein Land, das eigentlich das typische demokratische Land ist, jetzt so alles andere als demokratisch ist, sondern eigentlich eher in eine Autokratie abrutscht. Und ja, finde ich bedenklich.
Was verfolgen Sie da konkret?
Die Aussagen von Trump und seinen... Ja, es ist ja nicht nur er alleine, sondern alle, die mit ihm zusammen die gleiche Meinung haben. Auch wie die Presse dazu steht in den USA, denn das ist meines Erachtens nach das Schwierige, dass die Amerikaner nicht so wie wir einen Zugang zu wirklich neutraler Presse haben. Dort ist alles eigentlich privat organisiert. Die Presse, zwar sowohl die Printpresse als auch das Fernsehen und Radio, weiß ich nicht, gehört meistens irgendwelchen großen Medienmogulen. Und wenn die halt pro Trump sind, dann sind natürlich die Aussagen, die dort in der Presse getroffen werden, auch pro Trump. Und gerade am Land verfolgen die Leute natürlich dann, was dort gesagt wird und glauben das dann halt natürlich auch eher.
Also Sie meinen zum Beispiel, dass es sowas nicht gibt wie einen öffentlich-rechtlichen Rundfunk?
Genau, das meine ich, wobei ich der Meinung bin...
Okay, I'm gonna pause it real quick. Okay, it's hard for me to drive and read the subtitles at the same time, but it's 3:15 a.m. So there's not much going on. Anyway, so far she's saying kind of the things that I already think. And it's like, we're slipping into an autocracy with Trump. We got to get out of it. We have to hopefully get out of this, like the Germans are rightfully concerned because they have a history of an autocrat. They had an autocrat. They had a dictator. They had a Führer, whatever you want to call him. He was there and he did some terrible things because he just did it. He just did it. He had the support from his, all the lackeys and the people that supported him. And this is what she was talking about, is that she's concerned not just with who is in charge, but the people that support it. She's concerned that the Americans are supporting this type of thing. And to me, it's concerning just because you look at the actual psychology of it, and people that are MAGA don't probably understand what they are doing. but it's like a fascist. It's like it's a fascist death cult. I mean, it's a death cult. You know, it's like this. They want to see death. They want to see destruction. They want to ruin people's lives. They want to deport. They want to rip kids away from their family members. They want all these bad things, and the people that go along with it, they justify everything because of their sick, demented, twisted, fantasies about watching people suffer and because they suffered. So fuck them, fuck that person, fuck this person. Who cares if they die? And that's the attitude of a lot of people that are still in this mega death cult. It's the attitude that they have. And for those that are still in the death cult and they don't want to see death and destruction, why the fuck are you in there? Are you really that stupid? They're either stupid or they just are stupid. Like it's really one or the other. I mean, at this point, they would say the same thing about our side, like, well, you gotta be stupid to believe blah 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 blah. I mean, but the part that's frustrating when you're on the left is that on the left, you do your research and find out the left is better, and then you want to tell people, but they don't do any research because they're D students, they're failed students, they're F students. They were never good at school. They're not good at jobs either because and the people that are, people that are mega and they're actually good at a job, well, their personal life is in turmoil because of a lot of the things that they believe and subscribe to. Like that's, from my experience, that's what I've seen. And could there be someone that's mega? I don't think so. Like, I feel like mega is a specific. Mega is like 37% of the population out there. It's not everyone. It's just almost a little bit more than 1 out of 3 actually believe this shit. So 2/3 of us do not believe this stuff. We do also, though, vary on what we believe. But if you voted for Trump, that doesn't necessarily mean you're MAGA. I mean, I understand that. But at this point, you're not with them. So that's what I'm saying. If you're with Trump right now, February 16th, 2026, if you're still with Trump, you're in a death cult. You want to see suffering, you want to see all that. And you just believe whatever they tell you, whatever they feed you, and you're like, you just go along with it. Like, that's why you're in the cult, because it isn't good. Because it's not, like, most of the things that they do and most of the things that they stand for are terrible for everyone involved, just about, like, two white fucking citizens of the United States died because of protesting, just insane shit. I mean, it's not that white is better. Like, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, like, for people to support it, and they're even seeing white people die, like, that's another reason it's a cult. The white people, fuck that. That one guy, he had a gun. Yeah, but you're for the Second Amendment, right? Like, aren't you on the right? You're for people to carry, right? He didn't pull his gun, and he had a legal permit. They'll still apologize. They'll still, like, make an excuse. Oh, you got to do it this way. Oh, you got to do it that way. Anyway, I don't know. I've probably talked for way too long. Okay. Yeah, I'm almost there. 5 more minutes? Wait, hold on. Come on, open up. What are we doing here? I don't know if I need to... Hold on.
Dass auch Trump versuchen würde, auf einen öffentlich-rechtlichen Rundfunk, sofern es den dort geben würde, Einfluss zu nehmen.
Generell das Thema Donald Trump finde ich sehr schwierig. Das ist ein Rückschritt um 50 oder 100 Jahre, dass der Herr Trump noch ein zweites Mal Präsident werden konnte und die Entscheidungen, wie die getroffen werden, das ist im Endeffekt nicht mehr unser Zeitalter, glaube ich.
Was meinen Sie damit konkret?
Ja, diese Aufrufe, dass man quasi hier das Weiße Haus stürmt und so eine Geschichten, das meine ich einfach.
Und das ist nicht mehr zeitgemäß im Sinne von, dass wir normalerweise Demokratien heutzutage haben? Oder?
Ganz genau. Also ich sage jetzt mal, dass man Dinge anders löst, darüber spricht und nicht die Steinzeitmethode im Endeffekt annimmt, die der Herr Trump aufruft. Einfach eine Art von Diktatur, dass man auch die Wahrheit im Endeffekt verherrlicht und sagt, Dinge sind so sind sie eigentlich.
Yeah, I mean, so what he's saying here is that they're just, Americans are the ones that are being spoon-fed all this crap. Like, they're just not in reality anymore. Like, it's just this fantasy world that has been created, and it's weird because like it's weird to see here, some of these perspectives from Germany. It's interesting. I like it. It's because their perspective and their history is like, wait a minute, like, you guys, come on, man, like, look at what are you doing? And it's to me, the people right now that live in Germany, that are citizens of Germany now, they are, nearly 100, going in on 100 years being removed from Hitler and the Third Reich and Nazism and stuff like that, and these death camps, right? And they're more wise as a people now, because they actually grew up in a place that was terrible. Like, the people made terrible decisions. How did it get to this? I feel like we're gonna have to go through the same awakening in our country after this. I mean, at least some people will.
Let's continue with this.
Sehen Sie auch die internationale Politik, die mit den USA aktuell einhergeht?
Natürlich, nicht nur mit den USA, sondern auch andere kritische Themen. Es gibt ja auch andere Politiker, die meines Erachtens auch nicht mehr zeitgemäß sind. Auch in Europa. Ein Herr Orban wäre für mich eher ein schwieriges Thema.
Also ich finde, es ist ziemlich menschenfeindlich, was da abgeht. Man merkt auch in den Nachrichten, dieses ICE zum Beispiel, diese Organisation von Trump. Und viele Leute merken auch jetzt, eigentlich ist es nicht das, wofür ich gestimmt habe. Und da bin ich auch voll auf der Seite der Demokraten mäßig, dass sie sagen, ja, das wollen wir eigentlich nicht, wir wollen nicht so behandelt werden. Die Leute wohnen hier schon mega lange, ich supporte es nicht.
Also ich finde, dass er einfach nur widersprüchlich ist. Also er widerspricht sich in allem. Behauptet, nur weil Dänemark bzw. die Wikinger vor keine Ahnung wie vielen Jahren auf Grönland gelandet sind, dass Dänemark keinen Anspruch auf Grönland hat. Und dann frage ich mich ja, wie ist so Amerika entstanden, oder? Ein bisschen widersprüchlich, oder? Ja. Und insgesamt, er denkt einfach nicht darüber nach, über seine Konsequenzen. Also er redet ohne zu denken, ohne Sinn. Und das ist, es heizt einfach die Weltstimmung an, die Konflikte und alles.
Ich habe jetzt auch gestern auf Instagram gesehen, dass er sich irgendwie dazu geäußert hat, zu dem WEF, und dass er da eingeladen wurde und dass es anscheinend alles nur ein Witz sei. Da denke ich mir auch so, ja, die Welt funktioniert nur, wenn alle mitspielen. Und er denkt, er sei der große Player, aber es gibt noch sehr viele andere, die da mitspielen. Und ich finde es halt lächerlich, dass er denkt, er kann jetzt machen, was er möchte.
I'm really having trouble getting Germans in front of the camera. I just had two ladies. They said they have an opinion. They said it's a very, very bad opinion, but that they enjoy traveling to the US as tourists and they don't want to jeopardize that. And I feel like that says a lot. And they weren't the first people today to say that. I've talked to several Germans where I asked, hey, what's your opinion of the US right now? Would you be willing to say that in front of the camera? And several of them have said, no, I don't want that on record. I don't want to say that publicly. So that's striking right now.
Man tut sich manchmal von Deutschland aus schwer, die Einzelheiten zu beurteilen und auch die Situation in den USA mit der in Deutschland zu vergleichen. Feststellen muss man allerdings, dass sich in den letzten 2 Jahren Erhebliches verändert hat, dass die innenpolitische Situation in den USA aufgeladener ist und dass das Thema der Demokratie immer weiter in den Hintergrund rückt.
Ja, unverständlich, was da zurzeit los ist. Kann man nur hoffen, dass es besser wird. Läuft alles verkehrt, würde ich sagen, zurzeit.
Was konkret?
Die Regierung, wie sie alles handhabt mit den Migranten und ja, Trump überhaupt. Also ich meine, dass er einen an der Waffel hat, das glaube ich, sehen wir alle in Europa. Viele Amis wahrscheinlich nicht, aber ja.
Und außenpolitisch?
Ja, genauso. Also das mit Grönland und alles, das ist unbegreiflich, auf was der für Ideen kommt. Also in der heutigen Zeit, dass das überhaupt noch sowas jetzt in Frage kommt, dass man Länder hier einnimmt.
Also natürlich, ich finde sie nicht gut für ihre Aktionen und so. Und Trump vor allem nicht. Also das alles mit Epstein und so, also das finde ich richtig schlimm. Trump ist halt generell so ein komischer Präsident. Zum Beispiel, was er zu seiner Tochter auch sagt, wie er sie irgendwie heiraten würde, wenn sie nicht seine Tochter wäre. Und seine Beziehung mit Epstein, der war ja früher sehr gut mit Epstein und der ist ja auf der Liste. Der war auf seinem Insel und das sagt schon genug, was für eine Person er ist, aber Leute mögen ihn trotzdem und wählen ihn trotzdem. Also, ja, finde ich halt
I find it
Vor allem
weird
auch
too.
mit Eis, dass sie dort auch die Immigranten so wegschicken wollen und auch töten. Man hat ja auch von den Kameras, so von den Polizisten, von den Eisleuten da, so auch Beweis und niemand macht was dagegen.
Also ich sage nur eins, die Armen, die spinnen. Also das, was der Trump macht und überhaupt, aber eigentlich sind sie auch selber schuld, weil sie haben ihn ja gewählt.
Yeah, exactly.
Aber andererseits geht's, weiß nicht, also vielleicht sollte man jemanden bezahlen, der ihn mal etwas hinuntersetzt.
Oh God.
Hinuntersetzt, ich habe nichts anderes gesagt. Nee, ich finde es bescheuert. Es tut mir leid.
Was konkret zum Beispiel?
Ja, die ganze Art, also was er so an sich reißt, dann eben diese neue Art mit dem Eis, dass er praktisch Menschen umbringen lässt, aber sagt, na, das war... Also alles einfach. Und seine Frau, die ist ja auch nicht ganz sauber, Entschuldigung.
Ja.
Die Amis, ich weiß nicht, warum die das mitmachen. Ich weiß es nicht. Und ich hoffe nur eins, dass er nie Grönland kriegt oder überhaupt. Und ich finde es gut, dass zum Beispiel jetzt die Politiker, die Prominenten bei den Grammys oder bei den ganzen
Yeah.
Verleihungen,
We
dass
gotta
die
keep
immer
speaking up.
wieder
We
was
gotta keep speaking
sagen
up.
und so. Und er war ja auch nicht gerade amüsiert jetzt, wo das bei der Grammy-Verleihung war. Der hat ja den Moderator, glaube ich weiß gar nicht, was da genau war, aber er hat irgendwas gesagt. Also das finde ich schon mal gut, dass die wenigstens was sagen, die man kennt da drüben.
Also meine Meinung ist, ja, bis auf einen Menschen ist, finde ich, alles in Ordnung. Also habe ich mit denen gar kein Problem. Eigentlich, wie gesagt, hat das nur mit dem Herrn, der im Vordergrund immer stehen möchte, zu tun.
Und was ist da das Problem?
Er stellt sich einfach über alles, also in meiner Meinung nach, weil er einfach nur seine Person im Mittelpunkt
Yeah.
hat, glaube ich.
Es ist instabil geworden,
They're
es ist
spot
unsicher
on, man.
geworden und für uns in Deutschland ist es ziemlich gefährlich geworden, weil man weiß nie, was es mit jetzigen Präsidenten, wie es mit jetzigen Präsidenten weitergeht. Heute hopp und morgen hoppsala.
Yeah.
Deswegen, die Lage politisch finde ich in Amerika instabil.
Verfolgen Sie das Ganze auch innenpolitisch?
Ja, auf jeden Fall. Mit dieser Eisbehörde und alles, was da jetzt abläuft, das ist meiner Meinung nach ein Abbau der Demokratie und Verletzung von Menschenrechten. Das muss man eindeutig sagen.
Ja.
Mit inzwischen mehr als 10 Toten bei diesen allen Verhaftungsaktionen. Und das sind nicht nur Migranten und Amerikaner wahrscheinlich. Zufällige Menschen sind dabei. Weiß man, aber
Ja.
trotzdem, das ist zu viel.
Wo kommen Sie her?
Ursprünglich komme ich aus der ehemaligen Sowjetunion. Ich lebe aber über 35 Jahre, 37 Jahre in Deutschland.
Okay. Also schon sehr lange, aber Sie haben auch noch die Sowjetunion miterlebt damals.
Ja, in ganzer Ausprägung damals. Ich habe meinen ersten 31 Jahren in der Sowjetunion gelebt und erlebt, alles mit kommunistischen und autoritären und
Yeah, this
diktatorischen
guy's from the Soviet
Auch diese
Union.
Perestroika habe ich auch miterlebt, deswegen ich kann es gut vergleichen.
Deswegen frage ich, ja.
Ich kann sehr gut vergleichen und mir gefällt es momentan die Entwicklung überhaupt in der Welt, autoritäre Regime, wo das halt das Ganze hingeht und wo es landet, ist momentan,
Yeah.
ich sehe da Gefahr deswegen, es kann dort landen, wo wir schon einmal waren. Und das ist nicht gut.
I know that reading subtitles can be a little annoying, but despite most Germans speaking a decent amount of English, many of them don't feel comfortable doing so on camera. And I didn't want any of their answers to get lost because they didn't have the right words to express them. But for those of you speaking German, or those who are in the process of learning it, seeing people authentically speak the language can actually be a really good way to make some progress. Because in real life, languages usually don't sound like LingoPie was created. While watching TV. Waren Sie schon mal in den USA?
Ich war schon mal in Florida, ja.
Ja, ich war schon mehrfach in den USA.
Ja, in New York, es war sehr schön. Das ist aber schon sehr lange her.
Ja, mehrere Male früher, aber schon seit über 10 Jahren nicht mehr.
Und würden Sie jetzt aktuell auch wieder hin?
Nein, definitiv nicht. Und auch wenn das den Herrn Trump und seine Leute wahrscheinlich nicht interessiert, versuche ich auch momentan auf den Kauf von amerikanischen Produkten zu verzichten. Und nicht nur ich, sondern viele meiner Verwandten auch.
Ich würde aktuell auch wieder hinfahren. Das wäre jetzt kein Kriterium für mich.
Nee, also wir haben auch gesagt, wir wollen zurzeit nicht hin, solange der wirklich an der Regierung ist.
Warum?
Ja, einfach, weil ich es nicht gut finde, wie er halt mit seinen Leuten und mit dem Land umgeht und das nicht unterstützen möchte.
Yeah.
Wenn
They're
er weg ist,
boycotting
ja.
us. They're all boycotting.
Aber jetzt nicht. Nee.
Aktuell auf keinen Fall. Weil ich kenne über die Zahlen von abgewiesenen Touristen. Wir sind halt Touristen, wir haben da keine geschäftliche Beziehung, sondern da als Tourist kommen. Wenn die Quote von Abgewiesenen direkt im Flughafen bis zu 20% ist und darunter sind nicht nur, keine Ahnung, die Ostblock oder keine Ahnung, aber die Deutschen auch.
Really?
Und da kann man das alles zurückverfolgen. Ich möchte diese Risiko nicht eingehen.
Ich wollte früher gehen, aber ich muss ehrlich sagen, in der letzten Zeit ist es nicht mehr das Traumland von allen, oder? Also man hat behauptet, Amerika sei das Land der Freiheit. Also nee, eigentlich nicht mehr.
Also dein Bild hat sich auf jeden Fall geändert.
Ja, das definitiv, ja.
Ich will da nie hingehen, ehrlich jetzt. Ja, wollte ich, aber jetzt, nee, mit der Situation. Ich habe Angst da. Also die haben ja Waffen und so, das ist alles erlaubt. Und ich habe Angst, wie jemand das schießt. Also wirklich, das klingt jetzt ein bisschen lustig, aber ich will da halt einfach nicht hin.
Ja, ich will auch nicht hingehen, weil ich habe auch Angst, dass ich irgendwie erschossen werde. Weil ich bin selber ja nicht, ich bin ja Asiatin und so.
Also ich persönlich würde jetzt momentan nicht in die USA fahren.
Warst du schon mal dort?
Ja, schon öfter, aber mittlerweile, ja, es muss vielleicht jetzt mit Trump und diese ganzen Sachen muss vielleicht vergehen, dass ich da wieder hinfahre. Ich unterstütze einfach nicht die Werte, die da verbreitet werden und ich will einfach nicht Teil des Ganzen sein.
These responses actually reflect a worldwide trend right now. While international tourism overall is going up, travel to the US was down by about 6% in 2025. And it looks like even for the Soccer World Cup this summer, a lot of fans are hesitant to travel to the US and attend in person. I've also seen several reports about exchange programs with the US dropping in popularity. This exchange agency here in Munich says that the applications for a high school year in the US are down by about 50% right now.
Yeah. Normalerweise haben wir mindestens 100 Schüler für die USA oder sogar mehr. Und aufgrund der politischen Situation hat sich das leider geändert. Und wir haben gestern Statistik gemacht, wir haben ca. 50% weniger Bewerbungen für die USA, leider.
And this high school in Baden-Württemberg ended up canceling their annual band exchange with the US due to the new entry requirements, which ask travelers to disclose personal information such as their social media accounts, current and previous phone numbers, email addresses, residential addresses, and even information about family members.
Das ist theoretisch mein ganzes Leben, meine ganze Identität, die sie damit durchleuchten wollen.
Wenn man in ein Land reist, sollte man nicht Angst haben, dass man was Falsches geliked hat oder dass man eine andere Meinung vertritt.
Das können wir nicht kontrollieren. Wir haben keine Zutrittssicherheit, wir haben keinen Datenschutz mehr.
Wie hat sich denn Ihr Bild von den USA verändert in den letzten Jahren oder Jahrzehnten?
Früher war das der große Partner von Europa und Deutschland. Und jetzt ist es eher ein Feind, möchte ich jetzt nicht sagen, aber die Zusammenarbeit mit den USA ist dadurch schwieriger. Wobei ich denke, wenn der Herr Trump wieder weg wäre, dass die Zusammenarbeit wieder so werden kann, wie sie früher war. Die Hoffnung habe ich zumindest.
Ich hatte es früher immer so, als ich klein war, so Highschool und wow, es ist so ein großes Land, es ist irgendwie cool, man hat da Möglichkeiten und so. Und mittlerweile sehe ich es eher so als irgendwie, es werden demokratische Rechte unterdrückt und irgendwie ist es einfach nicht alles, was ich da vertreten will. An sich ist USA vom Land her schon schön, aber die Politik ist halt das, was ich abschreckt.
Die Amis waren ja schon immer ein bisschen, aber jetzt sind es noch bläder.
Die waren schon immer ein bisschen, das meint extrem?
Extrem, ja, extrem, teilweise naiv, teilweise dumm, dass die solche Menschen da überhaupt hochkommen lassen.
War ja doch immer so ein Land, wo man sagt, ah ja, Land der großen Träume und schieß mich tot. Und jetzt es ist halt einfach, dass man sagt, geht es nur noch eher bergab als bergauf, zumindest von außen gesehen. Ich weiß nicht, ich glaube, ein paar Amerikaner, die sehen das anders, aber ich finde es nicht gut.
Aber so auf Social Media, so alle Amerikaner und so, die haben so alles, ist so, ich weiß nicht, wie ich beschreiben soll.
So das Traumland.
Ja, genau, ja. Ja, absolut nicht mehr.
Okay, so I just had the first people tell me that they actually support what's going on in the US right now and that they're fans of Donald Trump. Those were the first people on and off camera all day that have said that. Unfortunately, they didn't want to come on camera and talk about it, but it was a Bavarian gentleman and his wife, who is apparently from New York, she said. She spoke German with a Bavarian accent too, though, so I'm assuming she probably has been in Germany for a pretty long time or grew up bilingually. But they said they're both fans of Donald Trump and what's going on in the US, and that was the first ones and only ones so far today. Wie meinen Sie denn, dass sich das auch auf uns hier in Deutschland und Europa auswirken könnte?
Ich hoffe, dass Deutschland jetzt den Weckruf erhalten hat und dass wir merken, dass wir uns nicht auf die USA verlassen dürfen, sowohl was die Ökonomie angeht, als auch die Verteidigung, und dass wir jetzt dann versuchen, uns auf eigene Beine zu stellen und vielleicht auch mehrere andere Handlungspartner zu finden.
Ja, es wird nicht einfacher für Deutschland. Man hat sich an den Gedanken gewöhnt, dass die USA...
So I'm going to pause it for a second. It's kind of foggy, you can see. But let's see here. I think of what we got. Some dude. Let's see, hold on. Dude's behind me right now. So I'm just going, oh, it's 60 here. Okay. My bad. I'm going too slow. Let me speed up a little bit. I can cut this out. Cut this out, man. What are they saying right now on here? They're really saying, like, hey, man, you know, like, we're staying away from the U.S. We're not buying U.S. We're not supporting the U.S. Most people in Germany don't support what Donald Trump is doing right now. And it's in all aspects. People have talked about ICE. People have talked about what he's doing with Greenland, and he's a hypocrite. He is a laughingstock. People see right through his shit, but they're concerned because there's support behind him in the U.S. So people are concerned about that. That people, you know, like, but we got into that before. But with this stuff, it's like people aren't traveling to the U.S. as much. They said, like, in 2025, like, tourism was down, like, what did they say, 6% or something like that? Like, it was a noticeable difference. So there were people just not, you know, deciding to spend their money in the U.S. And what else can you do? You know, what else can you do if you are in another country? You can't really do anything else. You could choose to not do that. You could choose not to come here. Some people, they said, you know, wanted to still come here, but okay, yeah, let's keep going.
Militärisch und international hinter Europa stehen, insbesondere auch hinter Deutschland stehen. Und von diesem Gedanken muss man sich offenbar allmählich verabschieden und auch selber dafür sorgen, dass man verteidigungsbereit ist, dass man bereit ist, die Situation und die Interessen Deutschlands notfalls auch auf eigene Faust wahrzunehmen.
Wie meinen Sie denn, wird sich das für uns noch entwickeln hier in Europa?
Die Hoffnung stirbt zuletzt, möchte ich sagen. Es mag auch sein, dass in den USA wieder mal andere Kräfte maßgeblich sind, sodass sich das Problem etwas entschärft. Allerdings im Augenblick deutet nichts darauf hin.
Ja, natürlich auch geht es um Wohlstand, um Arbeitsplätze und auch um innere und äußere Sicherheit.
Also es kann in zwei Richtungen gehen. Als erstes könnte es die Verbindung, die Einigung stärken zwischen den Ländern, eine Stärkung der EU und auch eine Stärkung mit den Beziehungen gegenüber dem Osten, oder? Also China, Russland, allem. Der zweite Weg wäre dann halt auch, dass es zu einer Isolation von allen führt ein bisschen, oder? Aber das denke ich jetzt eher, wahrscheinlich wird das eher weniger passieren. Mehr eine Stärkung untereinander in der EU und mit den östlichen Ländern.
Ich denke schon, dass es irgendwann große Auswirkungen hier auch haben könnte. Es ist halt einfach momentan noch so eine große Macht und Europa ist so klein dagegen. Ja, irgendwie hofft man nur, dass alles jetzt irgendwann mal wieder besser wird, weil man schaut Nachrichten und irgendwie jeden Tag kommt einfach nur noch schlimmer und hier Krieg und da schlimm und ja, nicht so schön zur Zeit.
Das ist die Frage. Sagen wir mal, so der März brauche ich vielleicht auch mal ein bisschen mehr Puff. Ich sage Ihnen eins, mir wäre die Merkel jetzt auch genau richtig. Weil die Merkel, die hätte schon längst irgendwie, glaube ich, ich weiß es nicht. Sie ist jetzt auch nicht mehr die Jüngste, aber ich weiß es echt nicht. Aber es ist nicht mehr normal. Und ich hoffe nur, dass es nicht noch mehr ausartet.
Das ist ein Risiko, weil durch seine Handlungen oder Aussprachen können die stärkeren und aggressiven Mächte der Welt auch so reagieren, womit wir nicht rechnen können. Auch mit einem großen Krieg in Europa.
Now, I did also run into quite a few non-German people today, and even though this video is about what Germans think about the US right now, I thought it might be interesting to share some of the international views as well.
For me is the market go down, we make money from the financial market. So for me is really, how to say, is good about the money. But thinking about the lives is not a good situation. But we need to make a lot of money, so I think it's good, a bit good situation.
So it's good because the US dollar is going down, or?
Bitcoin, Ethereum, the crypto, the gold, silver. So we study the financial market and we live from that. So it's now time to make shopping because Bitcoin is now to 63K. So we need to put all of our money in the market and make a lot of money in the future, so it's good.
I think it's a little scary. I'm from Canada, so quite close, just thinking of like travel and what's going on, and I don't think it's fair for the Americans. I personally wouldn't live there.
Yeah. Where in Canada are you from?
I'm from Ontario.
Okay, so you're pretty close.
Yeah.
Do you go over there usually a lot?
For travel, and then my brothers go quite often for sporting events, so just to think of what could happen in that week that they're there or whatever.
Has that changed now? Do they still go or have they stopped going?
They're supposed to go in March, but depending on what's going on, it might like change their decision if they decide to go or not, yeah.
Like Nikki said, honestly, just kind of scary. You kind of have a bit of guilt for people who don't really have a lot to do with it, but have to deal with it, if that makes sense. I actually used to live in Canada, so I would go like to the States quite often. So I have lots of people just all about, and I know they also said the same thing. It's just disappointing to kind of have to live there, even though they like living there.
Do they say exactly what is disappointing to them?
Just that it's scary, because I mean, I think the States for a long time have kind of been up in the air, and there's always so much going on, and I think what they do changes what happens in the rest of the world very, very easily. So when they're scared, it makes everybody else scared as well.
You feel like your image of the US has changed compared to when you were a kid, for example?
Not really, no. I think the States have always kind of been like the people who make very rash decisions. So yeah, I'd say not that it's changed, it's just kind of more frightening than it was as you, like obviously as you get older, you kind of understand a lot more that's going on as well.
I think it's always been the same. I don't think that it's changing. I think that everyone else is changing. So we're getting more opinions, we're getting more insight as to what's actually going on behind the big doors, I guess. But I think, yeah, I don't really know too much about America. I would love to go and visit, don't get me wrong. It's an amazing place, but I would be nervous to live out there, I think. That would be my first thing. I do think that it's always been like it. It's always been a place where celebrities would go and live their dreams, their lives, sign their lives away. But I don't think it's a place to raise your kids. I mean, stay in Europe. That would be what I'd say. Stay in Europe, raise your kids. Everyone's happy.
As I mentioned earlier, I was actually surprised by how hard it was to get people to talk about this topic on camera. I mean, I do have a background in media and I used to do lots of street surveys, so I know that Germans are always pretty shy when it comes to participating in these, but I truly didn't expect so many people to be worried about saying something despite being so far away. There was one couple where he was German and she was from Iran, and they said it was too hot of a topic because because of her background. There were also some tourists from Ireland who said they didn't want to talk about it because they had a trip to the US planned in May. So that might actually be one of the biggest takeaways for me from this survey, the overall hesitance. That being said, thank you to everyone who did agree to share their opinion with me, and I hope this was interesting to all of you guys as well. If you'd like another update on German media reports or a closer look at tourism in the US, let me know in the comments below. And please also let me know whether you enjoy this street survey format. If so, I can definitely do that more often in the future. What else would you want me to ask the Germans here? Again, put it in the comments below. If you enjoy what I do here on my channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. You can also watch and or listen to all of my videos on Spotify. And of course, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. So I hope I'll see you there or back here on YouTube for my next video. Tschüss!
Stop that. All right. So basically, not the most exciting.
Right, although the Democratic Party is winning.
Give me a second. Not the most exciting video, since especially probably shouldn't have done that one while I was driving. The fact that I had to read all the English subtitles, the German speaking. I mean, she pretty much said it right there. Like, a lot of people were afraid to say something because they didn't want to be like blacklisted or whatever, right? Like, they were coming to the U.S. They're like, oh no, better not. Just if anything is going to happen on my trip, I don't want to have to, you know, the fact that it, you know, I did it to myself, I don't want that to happen, right? This isn't really a good one to react to, huh? Like, this is a weird one. This is going to show me just driving in the car, listening to this. Anyway, I got to be entertaining, otherwise people don't want to watch. It's interesting to see what other people have to say about us, you know, Americans, because a lot of times in our culture we're, you know, firing bullets at each other, and it's something I noticed that happened more when Trump came out. You know, like he started basically attacking everyone, and then when his presidency started, you know, usually the attacks would stop when the presidency would begin and people would go back to normal, business as usual, right? Not to say people didn't attack each other after, you know, like after the election, but during the election, usually that's when all the attacks happen for the most part, like 99% of them. And then after Trump, when Trump started in 2017, and then he was like, yeah, it's fake. They're showing fake photos and fake videos of the inauguration, and they were just like trying to just don't believe your lying eyes. Don't believe what you see. You don't believe that, you know, like that's not what's really happening. We'll tell you what's really happening. And it's all about crafting a narrative, and that's what they started doing. That's what Trump, he got in front of everything by attacking everyone, you know, and then that just turned into this cult of personality because people were like, oh, he's doing it. He's doing it. He's putting them in their place. None of us can do it. So that's all the Trump supporters, right? That's their attitude. But, you know, what it comes down to is there are these people that still really support him. And I don't think a lot of them know what they're supporting. I think they're just going blindly. I think there's a few of them in there that know everything that's being done and they're okay with it. And then I think a few of them are not okay with it, but they still support because they absolutely are brainwashed into thinking that the left is going to destroy them or take away their guns or, you know, take away their job because they're for open borders, or that they're going to turn their kids trans. So there's something controlling each one of these sort of demographics, like mostly just fear, mostly just those fear tactics. They're making you afraid that someone is coming after your livelihood, your wife, your job, your kids, your home, your country, your business, your money, anything that they could think of. They're coming after it. You know, they're going to force you. They're going to force you to do something. They're going to force you to drink with a paper straw. They're going to force you to wear a mask. We can't let them do that. But then it doesn't, so nothing ever adds up. Like it's all about fear. And if things change, and there's new information, they just twist whatever they want into another narrative and they use fear. And really that's what it comes down to, is like 37% of people are just being controlled mostly by fear. The others are probably still being controlled by fear, but it's their fear is located in different spots. So they're just not going along with the 36, 37 that are in the cult. There's a good percentage of those that are left that are still being driven by fear. That fear of going bankrupt, fear of losing your money, fear of losing your wife, your husband, you know, whatever it is. So if you have a fear of losing your mate, what's going to make you lose them? Well, if you lose your job, you're going to lose your wife, you lose your kids. You got to keep your job. Well, who's taking your job? If you wrongfully believe that an immigrant is going to take your job, then you're going to want to vote for the Republicans every time, because you're like, I can't. That's the one thing. If that is the deck of cards, that is the card to pull out. If they take away my job, if the immigrant takes away my job, then my wife is going to leave, the kids are going to leave, and they got this wrong idea in their head about that. It's the billionaires. The billionaires are going to lay you off because of AI. The billionaire is going to can you, because then it's more profit in their pocket and their donors and their shareholders. Like, and anyone in the stock market that's invested is like, yeah, that's good. I mean, I get it. But you could still tax it. You could still tax every share bought, every share sold. You know, tax it when it's sold, tax it when it's bought. I don't know. Probably tax it when you buy it. When you sell it for what it is. That's my guess. I mean, I don't know, one or the other. But they were saying like 1/4 cent per share. So 0.25 of a penny. So 4 shares, 1 penny. You know, it's a small amount, but there's so many shares that it would generate a lot of money. They should just do that. You know, like it's capitalism, or we make money off of what we do. We don't have any manufacturing left in this country. That's all gone. You know, mostly. And Trump killed what was gonna, you know, Biden's plan, you know, the Democrats, what they passed in 2022, I believe it was. That was the CHIPS Act. The CHIPS Act was going to bring jobs back. It was going to bring manufacturing back to this country. It was going to bring 500,000 jobs, I think. And Trump just killed it. You know, he killed it. And now he's got tariffs on these things that are going to, now these chips are going to cost more because of the tariffs. And he was trying to bring, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, you think you would be able to get a Republican on your side with some of these things, but they don't care. So I guess all in all, let's look at it this way. You got the right, you got the left, and we just fight with each other. The left only fights because we have to, but at least they're starting to fight now, which is a good thing. It's a good thing that some of the Democrats are starting to say things, stand up, but it's also good that a channel like mine can get out there, talk about some things, show some videos, and highlight some things, and, you know, actually just help because I'm sharing the information that I think is important that people should see. you know, and it's a small part I can do, but it's also, you know, other people can do the same thing, because we need channels. We need multiple channels. We need a lot of ways to get into people's feeds, because nowadays that's what's going to win and lose elections, is getting into people's you know, the YouTube feed or the TikTok feed or the Instagram feed. You got to get in there, you know, like you got to get in there, and somehow, because no one's turning on a TV anymore. Legacy media is dying, and the young generation isn't paying attention to that stuff anymore. So that's the only way. It's the way that you can help me. And since this is a new channel, just please subscribe. My name is Andrew. I will be doing all sorts of shit. Just look out for my shorts, and then these longer videos of reactions and stuff like that. I mean, let me know what you think in the comments. You know, if you want me to stop doing reactions when I'm driving from the trenches, then subscribe and like and help my videos get bigger, so that I can have money to have time to do these at home. The only thing I have time for at home is to edit and sleep and eat. I don't have time to make a video and edit and eat and sleep. Got to do my videos when I'm driving. Anyway, yeah, thanks for checking this out. And like I said, let me know what you think about this in the comments. Is there something I missed? There probably is. Most of this thing I just watched while I was driving, listened to while I was driving, and yeah. Anyway, all right. Well, I'll talk to you next time. Peace.